Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day, and today I'm going to be talking about Today, Tonight and Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This book was nowhere on BookTube as I know of, and I don't know why, because it is such a good book. I gave this book, first of all, 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to this as an audiobook, and let me tell you, this is like one of the best contemporary enemies to lovers trope I have ever read, and I am so down for it. I love it so much. First of all, this book contains a game inside, so it just helped a lot with the pacing of the book. Just so to let you know, guys, it's not just contemporary. Well, it is contemporary, but it's not like slow paced like other books that I have read that are contemporary. This one I thought was really interesting, and since there was a game that is mostly half of the book, the pacing was really fast, even though it was just a 24 hours story. First of all, this is the story of Rowan Roth, who is a senior in high school, and she has a nemesis who she's been fighting for since the beginning of high school, named Neil McNair, and these two have been rivals for years. Teachers know about it, and they make it fun by putting them in teams sometimes, so that's really funny that like everybody knows that they are rivals and that nobody wants to be with them on a work assignment because it is just way too much pressure. But yeah, so they've been nemesis for years, and Warren's wish for the last year is to become the valedictorian, and unfortunately she is not. At the beginning of the book, Neil gets the title, and so her last chance to actually beat him is to win Hull. Hull is a game that is set up all around Seattle, the city where they live, and you have clues that you have to find, and you have also people on a sheet of paper that you have to kill. It is really intense, not like the Hunger Games, don't worry. You have like a wristband on your arm, and if the person who has your name is able to get out your wristband, you've been killed, and the name that you had will be passed on the person that killed you. I have no idea if I explained that correctly, but yeah, it is a little bit like the Hunger Games, but with an objective, because you can't kill like anyone. You have to kill the person that is on your sheet of paper. If you kill anybody else, it doesn't really count because you don't have that person's name because somebody else has it. Anyways, at the start of the game, I can't say that name, Rowan realizes that there are some students that are out to get them, her and Neil, because they've been the best at everything, and somehow they want to get revenge on them by killing them at the very start of the game. Rowan has no choice but to team up with Neil to both stay alive until the end of the game. The funniest thing about this is that the game can last hours, but like days. Like there's no end to this unless someone finds all the clues and kills everyone. So like the game could take like 4 hours, or it could take 36. Like I said, I really loved the pacing of the book because you get like the first half of the book that is about high school and Rowan and her fears and insecurities, about Neil, and about becoming valedictorian, I think it is the word. I don't remember. And it is mostly about realizing that it is the end of high school and that you won't be seeing all of these people never again. And I know what I'm talking about when I say that. High school friends, you don't see them again, okay? Unless you work really hard, but most of the time, you won't see anybody again. So if you want to take revenge on somebody, do it now. I really love Rowan's character. I thought she was really relatable as a character because she is somehow really fierce, but also really insecure about everything. And I felt like she was like me. And for some reason, I don't know why, but sometimes I can act very confident in what I'm doing. Mainly when I do things that I know. But whenever I have to do things or talk about things that I don't want to do or not want to talk about, I get very insecure, I get very shy, I just crumble back in my safe zone that is being alone. Lauren was kind of like that with her insecurities. She likes romance novels and she doesn't talk about it to anyone because she fears people's reaction. She fears that they'll laugh at her or that they'll just mock her. I just said the same thing. Or they'll just think that she's not serious about reading books because they're not real books. All those kind of insecurities, I do understand what she's going through, and I thought that, well, a lot of people can understand what she's going through, so I really like the fact that she was really relatable as a character, even though she's really intense on school, which I was not that much, but I relate. Neil, it was interesting to know him better because it was through Rowan's perspective, so we don't have a full 360 vision of him, but it was really interesting that he opened up to her really easily when they decided to become partners for the game. And with the fact that he easily opened up to her and started talking to her and being really, really nice, I immediately felt like he wanted more, obviously, and I wasn't wrong, but that was a bit predictable because he was way too kind for being enemies with her for the last 5 years. So I kind of felt like he was the one who was more into her than her, Warren. As you get to know more Neil, you realize that he is really smart, really kind, and he is so funny. I don't know why, but like all the guys in YA books are just so ridiculously funny. I don't know where that comes from. The girl is like kind of funny, but then the guy arrives and like it's a circus. Not a circus, but like it's just so funny. I was listening to a book and I laughed out loud many times. It was very weird. I was alone, thankfully. Rowan and Neil's relationship was incredible. I loved it so much. They had such chemistry and it was really easy and logic. So I really like the fact that even though the story takes place in like 7 or 8 hours, no, more than that, almost 24 hours, it's not weird that they develop feelings for each other because they've known each other for 5 years. That is why they get each other so easily, and that they can bounce off each other's jokes and everything. Like, they're not friends technically, as they say, but they know each other, and that is why it's so easy for them to talk to each other and connect with each other. So it was mainly one of the reasons why I really love that story and that trope, because even though it's really, really a short amount of time, they don't meet at the beginning. They've known each other for years, and so the build up to it, it's just like if you start the book at the first year of high school, it is a slow burn. It is a slow burn, so slow because it takes 5 years to, like literally 5 years and the ending, last day of school, for them to realize that they're into each other. But since we get to the last day and the beginning of the last day, it can sound not fake, but fast. Well, like too fast, but it's not, because you have all that history there, and well, we don't really know that history, but we know that there is a history and that it's not love at first sight. Little remarks about the audiobook. I really loved it. The intonations were amazing, especially for the jokes. It was just really, it was funnier, and Rebecca Ross is a beast. I love her. She narrated also a book that I listened to recently. I think it was Love and Gelato, and her voice is music to my ears. I love her voice and the way that she reads some sentences. I don't know if there are some sentences that are written a certain way for her to read that sentence a certain way, but she really does put intonations in the sentences and the way that people talk. It's really interesting. It makes the book come alive, even though it's not alive. And I feel like I'm watching a movie when I read audiobooks. So, well, I don't read, I listen to audiobooks. So that was perfect, and I'm gonna try to listen to more of Rebecca Ross's reads. I have 3 pros and 2 cons for this book. The first pro is obviously the relationship between Rowan and Neil. It was just beautiful. It was perfect. It was not fake. It didn't feel pushed either. So that was really, really good, because even though they're forced to team up together in the game, the way that they communicated with each other was not fake, because they could have been really awkward with each other because they don't spend that much time talking to each other, more like competing with each other. But it was really interesting to have that perspective and to have them become more friends. The writing style, I really, really loved it. The way that some sentences were written, it was really interesting, the choice of words, and the way that Rowan describes Neil is so funny, because she talks about his freckles, and just that part was really, really funny. And I don't think anyone, well, I guess people would think like that, but it was just really funny to read because I had never thought of it that way. But if you want to know what I'm talking about, just go read the book. And again, the storyline was incredible. The way it was all laid out, it was magical, and I'm not gonna repeat myself, but it was a slow burn, and it was the perfect slow burn ever. My 2 cons for this book, the first one that is a very predictable book in various scenes. I don't care that much. It is a con because you have to know that if you don't like predictable books, well, I'm guessing that you don't read YA if you don't like predictable books, but this is a predictable book. So obviously, as I said, it is an enemies to lover trope, so obviously they get together at the end. That is no surprise to anyone, but there are other elements that are very predictable. I won't talk about them, but there are some others than just the trope. And also, it's not a con towards the book, well, a little bit, but there is a fight scene, not a physical fight scene, a argumentative fight scene. I don't know how to say that. I didn't like the way it was made. I thought it was kind of fake because of things that I won't explain because it's very spoilery, but the reactions of both parties were weird and not predictable, that is for sure. But with the knowledge that we know afterwards, the way that both parties reacted to the fight scene was weird and not logical. So that was something that I didn't really like about that part, because a lot could have been explained during the fight scene and it was just explained afterwards, and it didn't make sense to not be told in the fight scene. So just something I wanted to talk about, but I don't really care because this book has full 5 stars, and I will definitely be reading or listening to more of Rachel Lynn Solomon's books. As for now, she doesn't have any other audiobooks available on Scribd, which is very unfortunate, but I will maybe buy them or take them at the library, but the library is closed right now, so we'll see. I have so many books to read, so maybe I'll just have to wait for the audiobooks to come out, hopefully with Rebecca Ross as the narrator. Just putting it out there. So that was it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Tell me down below if you have read this book, because I don't know anybody who has, and I want to talk about it to someone. It was so good, and if you haven't read it, just go read it. It is so good. Well, if you like contemporary and enemies to lover trope, because it is the main thing in this book. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos of me, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.